Hello everyone, we are Group 1. Today we are going to do our presentation. Our topic is FIFA corruption scandal and we choose the 2015 FIFA corruption case. And there are 9 members in our group. First, we will have the introduction part.
Football is like a mirror of society. It shows us who we are and what we can become. In May 2015, the United States indicted 40 FLFA officials and sports marketing executives on charges including bribery, money laundering, and racketeering. The court revised how FIFA leaders and related executives illegally manipulated media and marketing rights for major football tournaments involving billions of dollars. The goal of this course was to expose and stop the corruption within FLFA while promoting transparency and accountability in sport governance. Okay, next person.
Moving to the case background, it first came to light in May 2015 when the U.S. Department of Justice officially brought charges, but the investigation had actually been going on for several years before that. The key arrest took place in Zurich. It was an international case involving the United States, Switzerland, and part of Latin America. At its center was alleged long-term corruption within FIFA, mainly related to World Cup bidding and media broadcasting rights. Several senior officials were involved, including Jeffrey Webb and Eugenio Figueiredo. The investigation was led by the United States Department of Justice, with support from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Overall, the case involved large-scale corruption, including bribery, money laundering, and wire fraud. Okay, to the next person.
The FIFA corruption scandal involved bribery and abuse of power by senior officials. Chef Blando was accused of poor leadership but denied taking bribes. In 2022, he was found not guilty by a Swiss court. More directly involved was Jack Venner, who accepted bribes to support World Cup bids. Chuck Blando also admitted taking bribes. Next page. A major example is the 2010 selection of Russia and Qatar for the 2018 and 2022 FIFA World Cups. In 2015, FBI and U.S. Department of Justice investigation revealed that officials had taken millions of dollars in bribes. In 2015, several FIFA officials were arrested in Zurich, marking a key turning point. Next, people.
The contributing factors. First, lack of enforcement rule exists on paper, but no one follows through. Violations go unpunished. And the second one is missing accountability. When things go wrong, no one takes responsibility. People pass the blame instead of fixing the problem. And the third one is broken oversight. Watchdogs don't watch, adults don't lead to actions. Problems stay held until it's too late. These three factors work together. They feed off each other, and together they keep the system weak, no matter how many rules you write. So if we want real change, we have to address all three, not just one. Okay, next person.
The US applied the RICO Act to define FIFA as a criminal enterprise. This allowed the government to push top leaders for decades of systematic corruption and organized bribery. Next page. By invoking long-arm jurisdiction, the U.S. prosecuted over $150 million in fraud moving through its banks. Consequently, leaders faced up to 9 years in prison, and $201 million was returned only on the condition that organizations followed strict rules to stay honest. Next person.
Firstly, the corporation case had serious impact on the individual involved in FIFA. Senior officials were arrested, indicted, or even banned for life from football-related activities. Many of them also faced imprisonment, heavy fines, and severe damage to their personal reputation and professional careers. This punishment showed that corruption in international sport could lead to major legal and personal consequences. Next page. Beyond the individual level, FIFA also suffered a major loss of credibility and public trust, which increased pressure for governance reforms. Sponsors and the media also demand greater transparency and accountability. At the same time, the case highlighted the global nature of corruption and strengthened international anti-corruption cooperation. Overall, the case became a turning point for transparency and accountability in international sport. Next person.
For this case, several key measures were introduced to rebuild integrity after the 2015 FIFA corruption scandal. First, FIFA carried out institutional reforms by restructuring the leadership and introduced term limits to prevent the concentration of power. Second, independent oversight was strengthened with a more powerful ethics committee and stricter compliance system to improve the accountability. Third, financial transparency was enhanced through the majority disclosures and external audits, making financial activities more open. Finally, legal accountability played a key role. The case was led by the U.S. Department of Justice, working with international partners to prosecute those involved. Overall, this case shows that restoring integrity requires both strong system and a commitment to transparency. Okay, next person, please.
Let me now present the lesson from the 2015 FIFA corruption case. First, power without checks systematically breed corruption. This means that 14 senior officials over 20 years and more than $100 million. They are not individual failure, but a broken system. Second, transparency help prevent corruption. Hidden payments were only exposed through the FBI investigation. Third, whistleblowing fell without independence. Internal reports were ignored until the FBI became involved. Fourth, punishing individuals is not enough. Without enforcement, corruption can happen again. To conclude, corruption is not only individual failure, but also system failure. Real solution need checks, transparency, and protection and enforcement. Okay, next part.
In conclusion, the FIFA corruption case reveals deep structural weaknesses within the global sport governance. Corruption was able to persist not just because of individual actions, but due to the weak oversight, lack of transparency, and concentration of power. The case also shows that internal intervention played a critical role in exposing long-standing corruption. Although reforms were introduced, their effectiveness depends on the continuous enforcement. Overall, the case shows that corruption is not just a moral failure, but a failure of system, and only strong, transparent, and enforced system can prevent it. Okay, that's all for our group presentation. Thank you.